Hello and welcome to busyworksbeats.com. I need you guys to smash that like button. Today we continue our Logic Pro series right here at busyworksbeats.com/premium. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get that FL Studio workflow inside of Logic Pro so you can create trap beats that sound the way we like to create them. So here's my workflow. I'll go to the, the browser over here and look for sounds. So let's go to our browser. Let's go to all files. I've bookmarked my folders that I like. So the first thing I do is get the drum situated. Okay, so let's go in here. Let's find an 808. Let's just do the good old spins 808. Let's left click and drag this. We're going to drag this over to this left track area, and it asks us what do we want to do. In this case, I'm going to say I want to create a drum machine designer. This is basically like an MPC with pads on it. Okay, think of it that way. And we can, even though it doesn't look like we can do a lot to the sample here, I'll show you guys how we can edit the sample if we have to. Next, we need a hi-hat. So let's grab this thing, drag it right here. We need a snare. Actually want a hard snare like that. So we have 808, hi-hat, snare. Okay, so let's start with the drum pattern. Now the snare, I accidentally must have dragged it off of the grid. So let me do that again. How did that? Okay, it's okay. I don't know what happened, how that snare ended up on the thing. I don't know. So anyway, what we're gonna do is go over here. And we're going to create an area. So let's right click, create a MIDI, not a MIDI region. What do they call it? A pattern region. Okay. And I don't even think you have to do that. I think you could just literally just hit edit with this little pencil tool, go to where it says step sequencer, and I think it will create it for you. So I don't even think you need to create that. So here is the channel rack that we're used to in FL Studio. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is set these hi-hats. Now to create a hi-hat, we're going to change the BPM to 140 and let's turn on the metronome. But as you guys can hear, this hi-hat's too fast. So what we have to do is merge the hi-hat, hitting Command and Alt. It will merge two cells together like this. Command and Alt and left click. So merge these two, and then we're going to hit Command R to duplicate it. So now it's that 1/8 note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, I just ate cookies in my daggone. Clear my throat every 3 seconds. Okay. So let's switch this. Let's go to 64 steps so we can create variations. And now we're going to add the snare on the, let's go back. Let's also loop this. So at the top, you could left click here and we're going to create a loop. Let's zoom in. It's a lot of screen real estate being taken up. So let's go back. Let's loop this about 8 bars. And let's zoom in just enough. So far we have 4 bars, okay? And what we can do here is grab the top right and left click and loop this. So it continues the same pattern. Now in FL Studio, when you want to duplicate things, you can change one thing and it changes the other thing. But let's say you want to create a change up in the hi-hats. We're going to hit Command R so that we create a new region. So let's first loop it to see the differences here. So let's add the snare, 1, 2. So see, we got to put the snare on the 3 and the 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, one thing about Logic that is different than FL, Logic keeps everything the same color. So it's hard to tell where you are, like which beats are even and which ones are odd. It's hard to tell. So you have to get used to the placement. That's the only thing different about this than FL. That's like a major difference. Now let's add a couple bounce snares in here. Now, the cool thing about Logic is, let's say you want to create a hi-hat roll for a specific note. You can click this little drop-down arrow and it will give you all these functions. So what I love is you can add note repeats on individual sounds and you can do it very quickly. So I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. I'm going to turn this up to like 5. So you left click and just drag the amount. So normally I add more chops on the beat count and on the syncopated notes, the 1 and 2 and 3. On the ands, I'll put more of a slower chop. And. Okay, so that's my kind of style. And we can also change the note value. So if you guys want to get like fancy, for example, we can add on the second note, let's drop it down to G. So that's what, 5 notes down. Creates a nice contrast. Now notice this is only the first part of the pattern. There's two little windows here. The first part is the first 32 steps. The second window is the second 32 steps. So let's go scroll up, and here we'll see our pattern. But we still have to add those note repeats on the second half. So let's do that now. All right, now let's change the notes. And you can hit Alt left click to restore anything, any of these values, just Alt left click. All right, so now we have a pretty bouncy trap rhythm. We just need the 808. Now, normally speaking, I don't add the 808 into the sequencer because it's just harder to control the note values. So what we're gonna do is click this drop down, and now we can access the sounds like per sound. So similar to the FL Studio sampler, this is the same thing. We click on the sound and we can open up the sampler. So now I have the 808 that I could play like a normal sound. And let me see, is there a sustain in here? Some of these, I'm still getting used to their envelopes. Their envelope's a little bit different. So let's switch the envelope to, we want attack, hold, decay, and sustain, but then we want the release to drop. I don't know how to turn the release off. Because right now, what I'm trying to do is truncate the sample. Here, this might be it. So attack and decay just gives you that. Let's see, is there a play style? Let me figure this out, hold on. Okay, so I was on the wrong mode. So if you go from where it says one-shot mode over to classic mode, then we have the AHDSR. I don't think we have that on the other one, let me see. Yeah, okay, so that's why. So if you go to where it says classic mode, and you play a note, it will let go of the sample like that. So it truncates the sample. If you have it on one shot, it plays the entire sample. So it just depends on you guys' style, really. All right, so let's say you want the FL Studio style. Okay, you're gonna use the one-shot mode, and we just need to make sure it's monophonic. It sounds monophonic. Actually, let's switch the mode to mono, so the notes don't overlap. Sounds like there's a little overlap. Oh, here we go. Let's go to polyphony mono. Here we go. There we go. Now the notes won't overlap, and we could turn the 808 up. We could add more drive to it here. So people just don't know all these little secret functions in Logic, and that's why I think they don't get the sound they want. But you can get a really heavy sound in Logic. All right, now let's record this. Let's record to the metronome. All right, now let's highlight all the notes, hit Control A. We're gonna hit the Q for quantize. I keep mine at 100%. I usually keep it at 1/16 note. It just keeps it easy. So now we just need music to add over top of this. I mean, right now it's 808s is jumping. All right, now let's add an instrument here. Let's right click, add a new software instrument. You guys could add any instrument. There's no like magical instrument, but I will say, which one is it? Under synthesizer, Alchemy is really good. It's basically their version of Omnisphere in a way. And let's go to browse. Let's go to, I don't know, guitars. I'm just gonna click on random stuff. One thing I wish they had is a shuffle button. That would make this super fire, but. Now we are clipping, so let's start processing the drums real quick. Let's call this trap drums. You guys will get the project files for free. It's at my new plugin called BusyWorks Beats Compressor. So this is a compressor I built for us. Let's add this in. Yeah, those harmonics are crazy. We don't want to push this too hard though. Let's turn down the input. Let's just try the different styles. Now personally, I think the FET is going to be the best for this genre, and then very mu. Just depends on what kind of smooth sound you're going for. But I do like this FET all buttons in mode, which is like, For those who know what the 1176 is, you have a 4-to-1 ratio, 8-to-1 ratio, 12-to-1 ratio, and 20-to-1. And if you press them all, they all just combine in this like harmonic richness. That's what this mode is right here. And we have also a density mode, which adds even more harmonics. Let's just keep it on the FET just because we can control the harmonics with the density knob here. And if you oversample, you're going to hear those harmonics more clearly. So here's before. Right now it's clipping, so it's sounding loud. Really, you're hearing the clipping of Logic. You're really not hearing the sound itself. Here's before. Here's after. We could add a little more transient through. But it's about the harmonics though on this compressor. And now we have the drums contained. Let's add this guitar. So I'm just playing F minor and then F suspended second. So I switched it up. Switched it up towards the end there. So let's hit the notes, hit Control A, hit Q. See how fast it is once you get the drum pattern in. It's just what instruments you want. Now I will say Logic Pro is not a DAW that I click the notes in. That is only an FL Studio thing. Do I click the notes in the FL Studio piano roll? I've even found myself not doing that as much anymore because playing it by hand just has so many benefits and it's just easier, personally speaking. Now my new thing in Logic is adding a bunch of effects. Let's go to the multi-effects. Let's add Beat Breaker. I love their halftime. Let's blend this in though, the mix level. This might be a little too dark for this genre. Sounds kind of cool. Also on the Beat Breaker, let's add another one. And we can add the volume modulation and then chop it up into like 8 beats, for example. Just trying to see how many chops we could get. And basically, you can add these like curvatures. So if I go back, I just Control Z. Did I Control Z that? I think I just did. Oops, my bad. Let's add another one back in here. And if you like left click and drag it a slant, you can get these like these volume automations. So if you want the Drake vibe, I could do something like this. I wonder if you could hit like Shift Alt. I guess that doesn't do anything. So now we got that choppy Drake vibe. Let's see what other sounds they have in here. Now I'm just going through tones I like. There's no like magical formula. I'm just going through the guitar preset. I think we just had a good one before. Let's take off this acoustic filter. Let's go back to whatever we were on before, which I forgot what it was. forgot the preset we had, y'all. Darn, that's what I get. I wasn't paying attention to what preset it was. No, there's so many presets. This one sounds like Future. And if you guys want an extra thump to your drums, we could add my other plugins. Let's add let's do my tape emulation plugin here. I think Logic has an older build of this. Yeah, I don't think oh no, here it is, never mind. So now we can add even more harmonics here. Here's before, very safe 808. And here's that aggressive 808. It also has a built-in compressor with a nice density knob, which has really nice harmonics. So here's before. Telling you, my plugins are better than the plugins they be trying to force down our throats, y'all, because I built this for a producer. We know what we want. Here's without the compressor, the first compressor. It's also a cool sound, but I like that double. Let me see if I could group this melody in and see if it gets that aggressive. Let's see what else we can add. I feel like we need some kind of like, now I will say FL Studio does have very like playful synths in there. Logic Pro, you got to learn how to sound design to do all that. They go for more realistic synths, whereas FL goes for like playful. Let me try the monophonic synth. I'm just going to go through presets because I don't have time to sit here and design sounds here. This looks like they're mostly bass though. Yeah, never mind. These might be bass. Whoa, never mind. Let's do not that one. Let's do the retro synth. Or I might even go back to Alchemy. So we're looking for more of like a lead sound here. Turn down the 808 just a little bit. Also want to shorten the 808, it's just a little long, so let's fade this out. Get a little more dynamic this way. And what I love about Logic is you can now individually do stuff to individual sounds. So for example, let's say I want to delay this 808, for example, we're going to add what's called a sample delay. We're going to link these two so that it delays both the left signal and the right signal. Basically, we're just moving the audio to the right now. Now we get more of like that Drake pocket. And I feel like we can add a couple more notes in here. Now here's where I think FL does have the advantage, because you could just left click in little notes and just do stuff very quickly. Here you got to know where you are in time, and I mean, unless you change your snap to grid or something to like 1/16, I don't even know if that changes the grid necessarily. So that is where FL does have the advantage in terms of the piano roll. So I want to go dun dun. Just want to go F sharp. And also you kind of got to know your way around the keyboard here. So that's where I want to add a note. Now I'm also going to highlight this note, but what I do love is this quick velocity control. And what is it? Alt left click and then drag and then release. That duplicates notes. I did some kind of weird thing that sounded fire, but I just kind of stumbling around. See if I can recreate that. That little stutter, that whatever I did, sounded hard. Like I said, I don't normally draw in the Logic Pro piano rolls. Hard. A little happy accident right there. So I'm going to control the 808 volume so it's not slamming into the compression. You see how we're still getting that loud 808 even though it's turned down, what, 8 dB? See what else we can add in here. Turn this way down. So that's one thing, again, Logic. I'm gonna go through Alchemy though, see if that has more like sounds kids would use nowadays. So they have a lot of 80s sounds and stuff. Feels very Pierre Bourne. That was kind of hard. That little sine lead. All right, so I mentioned earlier, let's say you want to change up your drum pattern. So what we're going to do is pull back the loop, highlight the drum region, hit Command R. That will create a duplicate of the pattern, but it's different. So if I make a change to this one, it does not affect this one on the left. So now we can double click in here to make some kind of change. So I don't know, let's make a change in the hi-hats, or let's change the snare up a little. Put it on the 3 and a 6 instead of 3 and a 7. What else is there to do? Let's make these a little more, these volume changes. Let's make these more aggressive. Now this does take some getting used to, because you gotta like know how to angle it. But it's a nice system though. Just left click and drag. I'm gonna add a sample delay to the guitar, so it's a little more in the groove. And now we can mess with the 808 volume, just turn it up to distort this track. second pattern, so it matches up with that snare. Let's say you want to arrange this. We're going to highlight everything, hit Command R, just drag your loop marker thingy over there. So basically I could just take out the 808 in the beginning, create, you know, some kind of arrangement. Another thing you could do, let's say you don't want the snare in the beginning, you could highlight these, hit Control J. See there, wait, is it actually just right click. Oh, you know what, we can't, why can't we bounce these? I wonder why we can't join those together. That's interesting to know. I don't know why exactly we can't join these together. I'm sure there's some logical reason, but normally you'll be able to group these, and I wonder why that's not the case. So I guess technically these are all different. So I'm just going to take out the snare for the first two. Snare is loud by itself. Good Lord. Okay. I'm going to mute the drums as I remove the snare. So I'm just removing the snare from the first two patterns. That way as I unmute it. Okay, so as we move into the main section, then the snare kicks in. Now it's just about getting the levels right. All right, so let's add a little. So in Logic Pro, it's easy to add effects. I'm not gonna like bore you guys to tears, but what I love is that everything's auto routed to the mixer, and it's very easy to add different things. Like for example, I can click on this lead, and I can go to what's called the inspector tool, this little thing, and let's go to send. We're gonna send this to a bus. A bus collects different groups, and we're gonna send the bus somewhere. So now we're gonna turn this knob up, and it should open up the bus automatically. Let's go to where it says audio effects. Let's go to reverb. Let's go to where it says space designer. Let's go to the top. Let's go to halls, and let's go to Prince Hall 1. It's a good preset. And now we can send a duplicate of this track over to the reverb track. So it's really quick on how you can create custom effects chains in parallel. So now, like if I solo this, it has a nice reverb tail, and it just adds a sense of space. So as I turn stuff down, it's like everything gets loud. So the key here is just to make sure nothing's hitting too hard into these. These plugins are so powerful. I had to turn my stuff down going into them. That's how powerful they are. So these are going to be included in the black box bundle at busyworksbeats.com/black. This is for Mac only at this point in time, but we're rolling out PC pretty soon. So just these two plugins, the tape emulation and the BusyWorks Beats compressor, are just adding so much energy. So if I turn these off, Actually, here, let me do it a different way. But I guess on the group channel it doesn't work. Before it used to let me turn all the effects off at once. Let's just do it like this. So here's before. You know, the sounds are cool, but they're just there. They're not like standing out like that. Now here's just the compressor. Here's before. Here's after. It adds a like professional polish, and then the tape emulation really takes us over the top. That's because it has not only tape emulations of different styles of tape, but also this compressor has a crazy density knob that adds like, it's my favorite mastering compressor harmonic generation that I modeled it after. So that's why this sounds so good to my ear. Now let's push the levels a little bit. But see how much energy we have, and we're just barely hitting 0. You don't even need a limiter. This is how aggressive these two plugins are when you push them really hard. So now, like I said, it's like, it's almost too much bass. Now I want to pull back my 808. Let's run this one more time, but that is the FL Studio workflow inside of Logic Pro. Let's add this piano for a little dramatic effect. Wasn't ready. This thing was like, all right, I'm ready right now. Okay, so let's do F minor, F suspended into the minor chord like that. I don't know about the last chord. The snare is like, without the 808, that snare gets loud. Here's where the 808 needs to hit. from the piano through the effects. See how that piano so here's before. Just listen to the piano and listen to the amount of high quality the compressor and the tape emulation add. So here's before, very just kind of like there. Sounds good though. Again, it's a great recording, but now let's add this into the mix and turn it down a little bit. And see how it just holds it there and it makes it this like diabolical piano sound. Trying to see if I can squeeze this little 808 roll in here. Gotta get the right timing. All right, so I'm just gonna go by ear here. I think it starts here. And so one thing I am still getting used to in Logic Pro that is different than FL Studio is just the way we go about arrangement because of the way these blocks interact. It's a little bit different than FL Studio, and you got to relearn how stuff snaps to the grid. You can push the 808 harder for more distortion. Alright, so these plugins will be included in the black box bundle at busyworksbeats.com/black. We're on Mac only. We're working on the PC release. You guys getting early access to it. I'm going to drive the tape more and then turn the output down so we're not clipping. Let's also try different tape modes. So personally, my favorite on this one is the reel. We still have 2 dB to add any other plugins. Man, Logic Pro. It's a couple more things it could be better at, but outside of just like, some of the features of FL, like clicking in the piano roll, stuff like that, this thing is supreme. So if you want these project files, go to busyworksbeats.com/better beatmaker. I'll leave a link below, busyworksbeats.com/better beatmaker. You guys get these project files all free. Peace out, guys.